Cold outside, huh?
As we go through the cold and gray month of February, where spring seems so far away, it's always good to find something to distract us. Now, cinema is a good example of this. Going to a movie on a cold winter night, coming out happy and entertained. Now, unfortunately, in 2024, well, there hasn't been much in the way of happiness. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. Try to find something to go see that, at least could be mildly entertaining for us for a time period. And with that in mind, I headed out Friday night to check out the movie Lisa Frankenstein. Now, I had seen a trailer or two for this back in the fall, and I really didn't think anything of it. In fact, I kind of forgot about it until I saw that it was released this past weekend. And really, with nothing else to see, I figured, what the hell, let's give it a shot. So, what do we have here? Is this another in the long line of bleak films that are just pretty terrible? Or is this something a little bit more than that? Something that we can see and at least be entertained for a time period? Well, before we answer that, let's talk a little bit about the plot to the movie Lisa Frankenstein.
Let's talk.
So here we are in 1989, and we find Lisa Swallows, a lonely, weird girl still reeling from her mother's gruesome murder. She spends most of her free time in an old cemetery sketching tombstones. Now, her father, Dale, he's remarried a nasty woman named Janet. And by doing this, Lisa has gained a stepsister named Taffy, who, despite their differences, tries her best to make Lisa feel welcome. After spending a night at a party where she is drugged and sexually assaulted, Lisa goes to the cemetery that she frequently visits and speaks to the grave of a young Victorian man, saying she wishes she were with him. A bolt of green lightning strikes the grave, and it brings the young man back to life as a lovesick zombie. Now, while Lisa is creeped out at first, she hides the creature and tries to keep him safe. However, after Janet, her stepmom, antagonizes Lisa and threatens to send her to a reform school, the creature kills Janet, cuts off her ear. He gives it to Lisa to attach to his head. Now, Lisa does it. She doesn't, obviously doesn't think it's going to work, but gets an idea to place him in this damaged tanning bed that she had used earlier in the film and had electrocuted her. And here we find the electricity from the bed manages to make the new ear work, which gives them both the idea that they can cut off other body parts from people, sew them onto the creature, and reanimate him. And from here, the movie turns into a sort of horror comedy, and the creature starts looking more like his old self, and he and Lisa start to bond.
Sweet, that's really sweet.
So, before we get into this film, I'd like to give a bit of a shout out to its director, Zelda Williams. Now, Zelda is the daughter to the late great Robin Williams, and this is the first feature film that she's directed. She does a pretty good job. She keeps the story going, she captures some pretty gruesome kill scenes, but still places some comedic elements in them. The movie was written by Diablo Cody, who has given us Juno and Jennifer's Body. She lays heavy into her 80s themes. The soundtrack is basically a best of new wave goth rock of the late 80s, featuring bands like The Cure and of course The Smiths, because you're not going to do goth chicks without The Smiths. But it does throw in some REO Speedwagon and even a Jeffrey Osborne song. Now, as far as the acting, Catherine Newsom and Cole Sprouse, who played Lisa and the creature, they deliver fun and engrossing performances that embrace the silliness of this story, and also creating a relationship that is kind of touching and heartfelt, if not slightly demented. Now, as a lover of all things 80s, I appreciated this movie more than some others might. And if you are a fan of films like Heathers, you will probably enjoy this one. In fact, let's say it's kind of a Heathers meets Weird Science mashup kind of movie. Now, it's not a great film. It's PG-13. It should have been rated R, but it's definitely a movie you will walk out of feeling that you were at least entertained. And really, isn't that what matters most? So, To answer our original question, you may not love it, but you won't hate it, and you will be pleasantly surprised by this one. I get the feeling this may turn into one of those cult classic movies, you know, the ones that they're kind of originally here today, gone tomorrow, kind of ignored, but as time goes by, they're appreciated more and become beloved, kind of like the movie Heathers, which I feel like this film is trying to be.
Hello, Heather.
So sometimes when things are bleak, you can occasionally find a small nugget of positivity to get you through, and this is that film. It's not as memorable as the 80s and 90s high school romps and creep shows it pays tribute to, but there's still a lot of gory fun to be had with director Zelda Williams' feature-length debut, thanks to a pretty interesting script and Newton's electric lead acting.
Not bad at all.
So that's it for me this week. Tune in next week where, well, hopefully I find something decent to watch. So click that like button, subscribe, leave a comment or a suggestion. Share this video with friends and enemies alike. And as always, I thank you for giving me your valuable time. And I'll see you next week. Take care.